Yeah, I want to give the audience here just a little bit of a taste of what you do. We do have a clip of you performing stand-up, so let's go ahead and roll that.
There are assholes in the world, so I just prepare my kids by being one. I'm a good daddy. Some boy's gonna call my daughter a bitch one day and she's gonna go, "That all you got?" Motherfucker, I've been a bitch since I was 11. Step it up. Bulletproof. And I'm here to advocate that we stop texting and driving. I am. And here's why. You almost lost your boy the other day. You almost lost me. And when it happened, it scared the shit out of me. And you would think my first thought would be my daughter is gonna grow up without a dad. And that's not what my thought was. My thought was, oh my God, is that the text they're gonna put on the billboard? Whoa. You have no idea how close you were to seeing my face right next to the words, "Girl, when I get there, I'm gonna beat them cheeks." There's a sheriff on the other side of the billboard. He never got to beat them cheeks. Don't text and drive. You see, David, when God made white people, he made us perfect. I said, "Earl, your son has braces." I'm no preacher, but I'm pretty sure when a Christian puts braces on their kids, they're at least admitting God fucked up a little bit. How else do you explain that to that kid? Oh no, God loves you. He was just busy today and he made your face. What do you say? I was pumping gas one time, and the guy got into a fight with his girlfriend, grabs her by the hair, pushes her into the passenger seat and slams the door. And he looks over at me and goes, "Bitches, am I right, bro?" "No, sir. This is just a tank top." If white people are God's chosen people, why are we the only ones that get sunburns? Why are we allergic to air and trees?
I'll be right back.
Half of us can't eat bread. Why don't we have the biggest dicks? There's a pattern,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've noticed something about you just in this interview is that you have a unique ability to separate the different aspects of a person's character. You can recognize their talents for what they did while not necessarily agreeing with other aspects of the person. You mentioned that with Cat Williams, and then you brought up Bill Cosby a moment ago. I think this is a difficult area for a lot of Black people who grew up, I grew up with the Cosby Show. Yeah. And I want to be able to say this is one of the greatest television shows that's ever been on TV, but I find myself very hesitant to even bring that up now because of what he is now,
Yeah, it's Chappelle did a whole bit about that. Dave Chappelle he rapes but he saves. It's funny to do in stand-up comedy, but it's got to be hard for a lot of people because he not only revolutionized TV, but he was showing successful, smart, respectful Black mother and father and father on television, which was not very prominent. He was the first one to really push that out. And then you find out, there was this other shady thing going on. I just watched the documentary from The Ultimate Warrior. And, I was a tiny kid when The Ultimate Warrior came out in the 80s. And he was a huge influence on me, talking about find your inner warrior. And he's a wrestler. And I had the little wrestling doll. And I just looked up to him so much. And then, in like 2005 or 2006, he's retired and going on speaking tours, becomes a Rush Limbaugh fan, and then starts doing speeches about how queers aren't as much of a human as straight people. And he just starts saying this terrible shit. And I'm like, oh no, shut up. Like, you know, and he ended up apologizing and feeling bad for it. And it's really hard to when someone who you've looked up as a hero starts saying really dumb shit, you know. And I think that's probably one of the most heartbreaking things that's ever happened to me. Not that I'm anywhere near that status, but when people email me and go, I used to like you, but then you did this thing, or now you believe this, and now I hate you. 9 times out of 10, I don't really believe that. And I didn't say what they said I said, but they heard I said it or whatever. And I feel like I've let them down somehow, but they don't even really know the truth behind it. So on a few occasions, I've like responded and got on the phone with the person. You know, you can't call the Ultimate Warrior and Bill Cosby, but it's one of those things where it's got to be hard for them as well, you know, to have a massive fan base and then do something that lets a lot of people down, because that's what drives a lot of people to have that success, is the number of people they're inspiring, you know.
Right. Cat Williams is why America can't have nice things. Do you find that your position, your stance on religion or your beliefs, does that naturally lend itself to comedic material? Does it become easier to incorporate that into your comedy routines?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't know how you can read the Bible for more than 10 minutes without laughing your ass off, to be honest. I mean, there are so many things that like, there's a story about 2 guys getting into a fight, and a woman tries to break up the fight. And in the midst of breaking up the fight, her hand or wrist brushes up against the genitalia of one of the men.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
And they stop the fight to chop her hand off.
Yeah. She touched a penis.
I mean, that shit writes itself. I mean, it's insane. So yeah, I think it does. When you're looking at something that is clearly based in myth, yet you take it really seriously, you just become a parody of reality, I think, in some situations. And so, yeah, I think it's funny. I think the Bible is funny, and I'm able to, you know, I go up on stage and ask, you know, just like I said about in that clip that you played about you know, when Christians get braces for their kids, they're finally admitting that God fucked up a little bit, and it goes beyond that. I have bits where I talk about God is kind of a no call, no show at this point, and then I go, I kind of want to run for God. It's time to get a new one. I'll run for God. Here's my platform, and I start laying out all the things I would do if I were God, and inevitably I'll have a room full of Christians clapping, saying, "Yeah, that would be great," you know. Like at the age of 35, if I get to be God, at the age of 35, you could trade in masturbation for the ability to just rub your own back. That sounds reasonable to me.
We have another clip of you, and it kind of speaks to this a little bit. It is it's about religion, and this is actually from your YouTube channel, but it kind of incorporates a little bit of the comedy, but it does speak to that. So let's go ahead and play the second clip there.
Imagining, like, you know, God at a like a conference table, and his angels running up to him. Are we going with the cancer thing? Yeah. Let's keep that in there. In 3-week-old babies, yeah, everything. I want it all in there. Okay. And then someone else coming down the hall. God, what about someone being able to literally rape a child who is currently dying? Yeah, I said everything. Put it in there. Jumping over a building. No, that's ridiculous. We're not going to let them jump over buildings. Walk through walls. Invisibility? Nope. Hovering. Like 2 or 3 of them can do that, but nobody else. What about the ability to curse someone in your name and cause 2 female bears to come out of the woods and murder 42 children? Yeah, put that in there. Matter of fact, he's one of the good ones.
It's difficult to take serious material because that's like deep, horrific stuff that you're talking about there, but putting like a comedic spin on it just to point out how absurd it is.
Yeah,
or maybe it isn't difficult. I don't know.
No, that wasn't written. That wasn't designed to be comedy either. That was in the middle of a conversation, I believe, with a Christian, and I was just talking, and that came to me in that moment. and just naturally. I didn't write that or plan on trying to be funny at all, but I was just trying to show how absurd it is that God took some stuff off the table from a physics perspective, but allowed other things that are completely horrific. And when you challenge the Christian on that, they'll go, well, God can't solve all the problems. Oh, but we can't jump over buildings. We can't walk through walls. We can't fly. There's a million things we can't do. But, babies with cancer, he's on board with that. Or cursing someone in your name, and then bears come out of the woods and kill 42 children. Yeah, not only are we going to allow that, he's one of the good ones. Like Elijah is one of the main prophets, that is called to heaven. He's one of the few that are sent up by a whirlwind into heaven other than Jesus. So, I was just trying to, in the moment, show the absurdity there.
Well, let me bring in another guest on the show who is a huge fan of yours, and I invited her to the show specifically because you were going to be on. Cynthia McDonald, come on down. Cynthia is an activist. She is somebody who calls attention to the necessity of reparations for the descendants of African slaves in America. So let's go ahead and bring in Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia.
There she is.
Hello, David. Hi, Bryce.
Hi, Bryce. Cynthia was in that show where we were talking about religion and Black culture and all of that, and you kind of noticed you noticed her, I'm sure, and she noticed you, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? We need to get both of these people in on a call on a show together. So I wanted to bring her in.
Yeah, she was great on that show. You were great, Cynthia. That was amazing.
Thank you. Well, I feel that you are amazing as well, David.